Hi, guys. Welcome to Injury Time channel. A bad peace is better than the best war. War was so foreign. The sound of bombs coming in here and there, bombs falling over houses and schools. It was fortunate that all of my friends and I had friendly beings close by. A slice of bread sprinkled with sugar or a warm hug with a soft doll was a great comfort to us. But the war was never far away. This is a part of the diary of Yeva Skalchka, 13, who lived in Kharkiv, a northeastern city in Ukraine, when Russia invaded Ukraine in 2022. Still, Yeva is a lucky man who is lucky among misfortunes. She escaped bombed Kharkiv and suffered all sorts of hardships, but was able to evacuate to Dublin, Ireland via Hungary. In any war, evacuation to a foreign country is only a very small option. What about the rest? In all disasters, those who have to endure the worst pain are the socially underprivileged, such as children, women, and the elderly. War is a more heinous calamity in that it first sacrifices the able-bodied youth. However, a declaration of war is made by the socially strong. If the conditions for starting a war were to place the children, wives, and parents of the socially powerful on the front line, there would probably be little record of war in human history. As the war has lasted for over a year, it is said that the lives of Ukrainian women in particular are falling apart. In the early days of the war, they were the main victims of war crimes, and they are exposed to sexual violence in shelters. Domestic violence is on the rise, and they are taking on the burden of caring for children and the elderly. Olga, 57, a woman who received help from the aid organization International Rescue Committee in Mykolaiv, southern Ukraine, said her war trauma made her daily life difficult. She said, "I go to bed and wakes up in fear and prays awake wondering what will happen. Now our lives have stopped." Even after going to bed, she was left waiting to see if a situation would arise in which she would have to wake up again. "Everything has changed," she said, narrowing her eyes. During war, the dull and meaningless routine of peacetime becomes the most desired happiness. War is such a scary thing. Who and what social powers talk about war? Tensions on the Korean Peninsula are unusual. North Korea fires ballistic missiles, and the United States deploys strategic assets. Also blows a language bomb. The United States openly warns that North Korea's use of nuclear weapons will bring about the end of the regime, and North Korea responds by saying, if the United States continues its hostile practices, it will be regarded as a declaration of war. It is a situation where runaway locomotives are running face-to-face on the Korean Peninsula. Is there no wisdom to prevent conflict? On the 21st, former Prime Minister Lee Nak-yeon gave a lecture titled, Realistic Pragmatic Approach to Denuclearization and Peace on the Korean Peninsula, held at the Institute of Korean Studies at George Washington University. He argued that there is no reason why the US and North Korea cannot establish diplomatic ties, and argued that North Korea's denuclearization and normalization of North Korea-US relations should be promoted gradually and mutually. He said authoritarian rule and human rights violations deserve criticism, but negotiations could not succeed if ignoring North Korea's need to survive. He also analyzed that the collapse theory of North Korea made it difficult to implement the North Korea-US agreement and made North Korea more obsessed with nuclear armament. Regarding South Korea's theory of nuclear armament, he said, "It is dangerous and foolish, it will deteriorate Korea-US relations and trigger a nuclear arms race in East Asia," he emphasized. The denuclearization of North Korea through diplomatic negotiations with North Korea is the cornerstone of peace on the Korean Peninsula. However, North Korea's denuclearization presupposes the normalization of North Korea-US relations. Why? Let's refer to the column, Manage Crisis and More to Ease Tension with NK, the 23rd of February 2023. Greater than, by Seon-taek Wang, Director, Center for Global Diplomacy, Hanpyeong Policy Research Institute. In order to alleviate military tensions on the Korean Peninsula, efforts must be made to resolve fundamental issues. There must be reasons why North Korea is violating international regulations, such as possessing nuclear weapons and launching ballistic missiles. Unless the cause is removed, the tension will repeat itself. North Korea's logic is as follows. North Korea is at war with the US. The enemy, the United States, has powerful nuclear weapons. Therefore, in order to deter the possibility of enemy aggression, they must also have nuclear weapons. North Korea's claim is awkward, but if interpreted differently, a clue to the solution can be found. In other words, if North Korea improves its relationship with the US, eliminating the possibility of US aggression and signing a peace treaty with the US, North Korea can give up its nuclear weapons and follow the US-led international order. People claim that North Korea's logic is purely propaganda, so don't be fooled. However, North Korea's argument is the key to fundamentally resolving the nuclear issue. And diplomacy is an exquisite art that can induce coexistence and consideration out of hatred and resentment. It's better than giving up, so keep trying. Center Director Wang's closing remarks are impressive. South Korea is one of the 10 economic and military powerhouses. It also has a world-famous culture. In a country like this, living with unwanted anxiety over problems with the tiny country of North Korea is not a smart scenario. We need unity within us. The mere thought of a military solution has dire consequences. Diplomatic negotiations are the only solution. To do this, it is necessary to understand the fundamental problems that North Korea is claiming. It's not about condoning it. In order to negotiate, isn't it necessary to acknowledge the other party as a partner and know the other party's claims? A good war is not as good as a bad peace. This has been columnist Cho Song-won. Thanks for watching.